somebody talked about a base. I guess from a historical point of view, I'd be interested to see whether this happened before countries went off the gold standard.
Yes, it did. And in fact, Dwayne Winsec presented a paper on the history. It was the 1873 crisis at the IMCR conference in Braga just this year. And he actually put it in the context of the Minsky model. So the answer is yes, it was happening before the gold standard.
Same reasons or different reasons?
He argued something certainly analogous to that. Yeah. And again, the problem being, I mean, what Minsky does is he recognises that there are these cycles of over-expansions of credit followed by panic and sudden implosions of fictitious value. He doesn't call it fictitious value, it's what he means. What he doesn't explain is the communication processes in those cycles, and that's what I hope I've kind of added into the mix. And by doing it, you can update Marx and link it to the arguments he made about contradictions. So I mean, the communication systems were different, but the process of extensions of credit, people borrowing to invest because it's such a surefire deal, nothing could possibly go wrong. I mean, this is behind this. The South Seas bubble was this. They were actually borrowing to buy their own stocks to keep the price going, and it became a Ponzi scheme, which is a big part of Minsky's framework. But by I mean, we probably heard of, was it Madoff? Bernie Madoff. Madoff, yep. Yeah. I mean, he was running a Ponzi scheme on a small scale. Well, what he might have added in his defence is that he was just the bubble on a much bigger Ponzi scheme called the financial markets.
It's quite a frightening picture that you painted.
Yes. Well, I mean, seriously, in Britain, I mean, I was talking to academics that the universities have just been told that they're going to have the budgets cut by 25% and the caps on fees are going to be lifted. And that is a direct result of this stuff. So this isn't abstraction. I mean, this is really looking at what I consider to be really quite tangible political economic realities. The 25%, I mean, imagine if someone cut Unitec's budget by 25%. I mean, several of us wouldn't have jobs. And, the students would either come out with mortgage-sized debts or they wouldn't come at all. And they're doing that to Britain. And you think, well, gee, that's... If anyone feels like slugging off Michael Cullen, you might just pause and thank God he didn't take us into the position Britain was in, although it had more to do with the banks than policy. Sorry.
I'm interested in the view of the future that you would see, Peter, from this. Is it a rolling snowball situation that we're in, or more a cyclic situation, but what's happening to the cycles if you sort of try and look ahead from this scenario?
How should I put it? The way I would understand it is that these things are discrete in one sense. I mean, the subprime mortgage crisis is pretty much gone. The credit crunch is pretty much gone. We're still feeling the after effects. The next problem that we'll have isn't the one we regulate for. It's the one that we don't expect. It's always what catches you offside. It's not the problem that you fix that will cause the next problem. In fact, but the problem is that by actually fixing the problem that you see today, you often set up the conditions through which someone will come up with a brilliant financial innovation to try and get round those regulations, and that will become very profitable, and people will think that's the next big thing, and that's usually where the next problem stems from. I mean, CDOs were the classic example, collateralized debt obligations and mortgage securities. In fact, did anyone see For the Love of Money last night? It's BBC doco on the documentary channel. Dealt with Lehman Brothers, and it talked about this. They were just making so much damn money out of these things. People just assumed they couldn't be risky. I'm just thinking Minsky all the way through.
We have the DVD if anybody wants to see it. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Peter. I finally understood what it was that you were doing all these years, and it's
so did I.
I'm sure so thank you very much for sharing it with us, because it does, as you say, have such direct implication on our lives everywhere. So as we said, we are recording these presentations and we'll go up on YouTube at some point, but they will be available so we can share it with the outside world, and the world should know what Misk has said. So on that note, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.